Hello, my name is Shannon Boomgarden, and I am an archaeologist for the Natural History Museum of Utah. And I've been a field archaeologist for 15 years, and so I'm going to talk a little bit about some of my favorite things about being a field archaeologist and some of the things that are difficult. And my absolute favorite thing about being in the field is my office. So here I am in Range Creek Canyon. It is a field research station, and we conduct a summer archaeological field school here where we teach 12 students every summer how to do archaeology, and they are able to figure out if that is the career for them. And my favorite part about being an archaeologist here is the teaching. I love meeting new students and being part of their career and helping them find out if archaeology is the field for them. And so the reason I am an archaeologist is to become a professor and hopefully teach my own field school someday. One of the difficult things about being in the field, of course, is being in remote locations away from your family. So when I first decided to have a family, I thought, oh, I'll just carry my baby on my back and keep working as if nothing happened. But then I got the baby and realized that was totally delusional. There's no way I could keep doing field work the way I always had. And for one thing, babies grow up, and you cannot just carry around a 40-pound kid on your back. And speaking of 40-pound kids, here is my son, Folsom. Hi, buddy.
Hi.
And he is in the field with me today. And one of the cool things about my job here at a research station is I can bring him along sometimes, but we spend most of our summers apart for at least 2 months. And even when I do get to bring him down here, we don't get a whole lot of work done. But he loves it, and we have loads of fun down here. Do you like being an archaeologist?
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing about being in the field?
I don't know.
You don't know?
No.
You don't like anything about being down here?
I like being in dirt holes.
You like being in dirt holes? What about ATV rides?
Yeah, man, we just took one.
Yeah. What about mud puddles?
Yeah.
What about having our pup here, Carly? Hi, Carly.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about floods?
Yeah.
Cool. I like those too.
And that's it.
That's it? Okay. All right, now we're going to go talk a little bit more about other things we like and don't like about being in the field. Stay tuned. Hi again. So the second thing that I want to talk about that is one of my favorite things about field archaeology is conducting experiments in the field. And because I work at a research station and I stay in one place year after year, I get to think about past human behavior in a different way and try to do things hands-on to help me learn about the past and the decisions that people would have made in this environment. So I am standing at one of my experiments. This is experimental corn plot, and I am studying irrigation and water availability and how costly it would have been to pull water from the creek to water your corn, and whether or not that would have been an efficient way to water, or if you could have relied on the rain. As you can see in our first plot, we didn't water it, and we didn't get enough rain to get enough water to this corn, so it died right away. And then we have 3 more plots that have been watered differently, and so I'm using sensors to record how much water is available to these plants and recording a lot of different variables to help me understand the trade-offs between how hard it is to irrigate or to just leave your corn and see if it does well on its own with just the rainwater. So it's been a great opportunity to work in a place like this that lets me do experiments like this and test my hypotheses in the field. So here we are at a second experimental project that we've been working on. A few years ago we built 2 granaries to see how much material it would take and how costly it was to build them. And now we just come back and monitor them to see how the 2 different granaries built in 2 different locations are holding up through the years. This one that we're at right here was built under a rock, very well protected, and we filled it with corn, and when we came back, none of the corn had been eaten and it hadn't been broken into. And it's probably maybe 8 years old, and it still looks great and it's not falling apart, so we just like to check on it and see how it's looking. And now we'll go to another one that we built without protection that is slowly eroding, kind of like on-site storage, so that we can compare the two. So now we are at the second experimental granary that we are comparing to the smaller one that's hidden under the ledge. This one is bigger and it's more like storage that would have been out on the open on a site. And so watching it over the years deteriorate through the weather, you can see how costly and time-consuming it would have been to patch it up and keep it rodent-proof, or even just so that it had a roof if it was more like one of their pit house structures. So anything built of dirt has to constantly be maintained and fixed, and so that's a lot of work. So here's our second one. You can see how the roof is falling apart. The capstones are still held up by the roof material. We put corn into this one, and when we came back the following spring, all the corn had been eaten and rodents had been in here, and it's also full of black widows. But it's really cool to see how building something like this would have actually worked, what it takes to maintain, and how it deteriorates through time. Hello again. We just woke up in our spring bar tent. Here's our tent. And it just reminded me of a few more things that by the end of a long field season, I am ready to be done with. First of all, squeaky cots. Squeaky cots. And holes in the screen that let mice in that run around in the night. I have had enough of endless supply of dirt that gets everywhere. I am definitely tired of sounds in the middle of the night that we don't know what they are outside of our tent. I'm tired of the rain and the heat and the wind and the lightning and pack rats and bears and snakes and scorpions and bees and spiders and mosquitoes. Are you tired of anything? You're just having fun? It is still pretty fun. But we're ready to take down this tent and go home. Bye-bye.